In your success process, you are going to need the 3 keys that I will be sharing with you in this episode. These keys will not only accelerate you to achieving your biggest goals, but they will allow your process to be stress-free, worry-free, and purpose-filled. Now, I'm going to warn you that if you miss the last key, your entire process will be a waste of time because the last key is the most important, and I don't want that for you. So be sure to stick around for the entire episode. And if you're the person that has big goals that you're trying to reach, this is an episode that you don't want to miss. So let's get it. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Dream Lifestyle Podcast. My name is Trevón Jr., and I'm excited to have you here because you matter and your dream matters, and it's possible. As you guys know, this podcast is for the purpose of helping you achieve excellence in your process to your success. And if you don't know what that means, basically that just means we're here to help you figure out how to make your dream happen. So if that resonates with you, if that speaks to you, if you're the person that you have goals that you are trying to reach, be sure to subscribe, be sure to engage, be sure to comment, press follow, all that good stuff, because I'm really thankful to have you guys here. I really don't take it for granted, especially because this is episode 20. Like, wow, who'd have thought? So I'm really just thankful again for everyone that has been helpful, that has reached out just about how the podcast has helped them and everything of the sort. But today is a really dope episode because we're talking about 3 keys to the success process. And the reason why I've kind of been theming a lot of these podcast episodes, the success process, because on December 17th, we have our Dreamer Symposium, and that is our very first in-person experience, which I'm super excited about. So if you're interested in going to the very first Craft Your Dream in-person experience, be sure to look in the description. The link's going to be below there for you to grab your ticket to get in the room. I would suggest get a VIP ticket because I heard along the grapevine that there's going to be a really great bonus for people that get VIP tickets. It's going to be totally worth it. Definitely going to over deliver. So be sure to check that out. But the entire Dreamer Symposium is focused on helping people get real on how to make the dream happen. And that's really about process. You know, so often people focus on the end goal, and that's great because you do have to be very clear on where you want to be. But you really do have to, quote unquote, fall in love with the process. But you really need to get clear on what your process is and what your process is going to be. And so that's why in today's episode, we're talking about 3 keys to the success process. Okay. Now I'm going to just jump right in. The very first key to the success process is that you need a purpose-filled goal. All right. You need a purpose-filled goal. And this is not to be confused with just a goal. Right. And what I mean by a goal is I don't want you to just have a goal that sounds nice. I don't want you to have a goal that your parents set out for you. I don't want you to have a goal that you heard one of your friends say that they're going for, whether it's, you want to make 6 figures or you want to become, a certain position in a company or whatever the case may be. You need to make sure that your goal is really purpose filled. And there's a whole process in which you're able to get to those purpose-filled goals because you need to understand what your purpose is, as well as the purpose of your goal, the origin of your dream, things of that nature. But you really want to make sure that whatever the goal is, whatever it is that you are going after, whatever it is your point B is, so to say, you want to make sure that it's purpose-filled because, purpose is the thing that will really allow you to overcome your obstacles. All right, because it's going to get hard. Right? It's going to get hard. But when you are very clear about the goal, when you're very clear on whatever the purpose-filled goal is, it will really allow you to really always keep things in perspective. Because honestly, your focus and your perspective really are superpowers that you control. I always say that stress and worry and things of that nature, like it's all a choice. You can really choose to stress. You can choose to worry. And at the same time, as you can choose to do those things, you can choose not to do those things. But it's really up to you. Right. And for those of you that kind of know, I'm big on just studying laws and things of that nature. Like it speaks to the law of polarity. In any situation, there's always some sort of good that can be pulled from it. All right. There's always something good that can be seen in whatever situation, but it's up to you to really look for it. You've never seen a one-sided piece of bread. You've never seen a one-sided coin. There's always 2 sides, but it's up to you to actually look. It's up to you to seek opportunity. It's up to you to see the good in any type of situation, regardless of what may be going on around you. And so you may be listening to me right now and you're like, I don't know what possibly could be good right now. I want you to just really sit down, take a step back from the situation and just ask yourself, are you loved? Ask yourself, am I better today than I was yesterday? If you ask yourself those 2 questions, regardless of whatever situation that you're in, I'm telling you, that you're going to find a peace and find the good in whatever situation it is. Yes, there are plenty of things that could be different. Yeah, there are plenty of things that could, maybe look different, feel different, things that you don't want to be experiencing right now, whatever the case may be. But you really want to make sure that your focus and your perspective is in the right place at all times during the process. So that way, as you continue to ascend, as you continue to accelerate towards that goal, there's a real purpose behind it. And you get all of that just by having a purpose-filled goal. All right. Because purpose is one of the most powerful things. Like for me, just using me as an example, when it comes to everything that I do with Craft Your Dream, I'm very clear that my purpose is to help people see that their dream is possible and for that to practically help them make it happen. So when I experience my low moments, when I experience the tough moments, it's really that purpose-filled goal that allows me to keep going. It's really that purpose-filled goal that stops me from just saying, I will never put out another podcast, or I'll stop posting, or I'll stop having events, whatever the case may be, even when I don't feel like it. Even when I have those temporary emotions or those temporary moments where I have to decide whether or not I'm going to worry or not, it's because I have the purpose-filled goal of, making Craft Your Dream a resource for people that have goals and dreams to keep going. It allows me to keep going because it's a purpose-filled goal. And so you have to decide, what's your purpose-filled goal? What's your purpose? What's the purpose of your dream? But make sure that you're very clear on it. So that way, when times are low, when things might not seem the best, you know exactly what you want to fall on. And I heard a saying once, and I think it really applies well, that you never really rise to the occasion. You only fall to the level of your training. And I'll even tweak that a little bit. You really only fall to the level of your purpose. And so when you have a really good understanding of whatever your purpose is, when things get hard, you're going to fall to your understanding of your purpose, and you want to just get clear on it. So again, that's why you must have purpose-filled goals. All right. You need that during the process. Now, the second key that you need during your success process. All right. And this is more of a practical point. You need 5 benchmark goals. All right. You need 5 benchmark goals. And the reason why you need 5 benchmark goals is because Rome was not built in a day, in the same way your dream is not going to be built in a day. You're going to need at least, I would say, a 5-step process. So that way you're just very clear about where you are in the process towards your goals and dreams. Because again, if you spend too much time focusing on, 100 steps ahead of you, then it's easier to get lost. But when you set little small benchmarks, right? In the same way with the GPS, when you want to go to the store, once you go a certain distance, you have to make the left. After a certain distance, you have to make a right. Once you pass a certain stop sign or a certain neighborhood or whatever, you're on the right track. It's the exact same thing with your goals. So if you have, let's say, a goal of, you're an entrepreneur and you want your business to be making a certain amount of money. Well, at that point, you set benchmark goals that are in line. So that way that 5th step is your ultimate goal, but you at least have smaller bite-sized chunk goals that you can make. So, one goal could be, I'm going to learn how to master selling. The second goal is I'm going to learn how to master marketing. I'm going to get good with this. I'm going to build a certain number of relationships, whatever the case may be. And it's completely custom to you and your strengths and your weaknesses and everything of the sort. If you want to figure it out, just reach out to me. I'll certainly help you with it. But you really want to make sure that you have 5 benchmark goals that are specific to you. So that way, when you are in your process, again, this is about the process being stress-free, worry-free, and purpose-filled, that when you are in the process, you're not looking 100 steps ahead of you. You're only having to look at, okay, what's the next benchmark I'm supposed to hit? Because again, your dream is not going to happen in a day, and it shouldn't, because if your dream were to happen in a day, likely means it wasn't really worth it. And as you've heard me say before on this podcast, if it's hard to get, that means it's worth having. And if it's not worth having, it's easy to get. All right. I might have just tongue-tied myself, but you guys get the point. At the end of the day, you really want to make sure that you do have goals that are difficult to get. And when you have those difficult types of goals, you're going to be willing to go the distance and get them, to persevere through them. Okay. So you would just want to have those 5 benchmark goals. So that way you're just very clear on your process. So that way you're not beating yourself up as you're in process towards the goal. You want to make sure that you're at peace with it, because okay, I did whatever I needed to do today to get to the first benchmark, whatever the case may be, whatever that is for you, whatever you set for yourself. But these are things that you need to define for yourself. So that way, while you're in process, you're stress-free about it, you're worry-free, and you're purpose-filled. Okay. Now, the last key to your success process is you need to expect success. You need to expect success while you're in this process. And this is the most important one. Like if you don't, you can, like, you definitely need the first two, but the first two don't work if you don't have this third one, which is expecting success. Because if you don't expect for this process to work, then no one else is. If you don't expect what you're trying to do and just the plan that you've put in place and the work and the introspectiveness and the self-reflection and goal setting and things of that nature, if you yourself don't actually expect it to work, it's not going to. And I can tell you that expectation is a superpower of yours. When you go into certain situations and you expect a certain result, and that means your expectation basically is going to lead into your belief. Your belief is going to lead into your hands, and you're going to actually operate in a certain way because you're expecting a certain result. And you want to make sure that when you're in your process to your biggest goals, that you're expecting to hit your 5 benchmark goals, that you're expecting your purpose-filled goal to come to fruition because your effort is matching that. All right. And that's what you get when you expect success at every single point. All right. Now, what that may look like, if you are, I just like using entrepreneurs as an example, but if you're an entrepreneur and you have different meetings or whatever the case may be, you go into a meeting, you have an expectation that you're going to close. If you have, if you're a content creator and you are recording content, there's an expectation that people are going to see it. And because you have that expectation, you're going to treat the project as such. You're going to treat the meeting as such. You're going to treat the conversation as such because you have an expectation for this thing to succeed. All right. And that's basically what everything achieving excellence is all about. Like that is what it's the essence of achieving excellence. It's basically I'm preparing for this to be at large scale, but I'm just basically doing my very best with what I have in the time that I have now. And that's what you get when you expect success. All right. Now, for me, this is something that I try to practice every single day. Like one of my core principles, my core laws is to operate in excellence. And this is something that has completely changed my life just because I find myself in more spaces that are unknown to me. But so that means essentially the reason why I share that is because there's a lot of preparation on my part. There's a lot of preparation on my part that I'm not used to doing. But because I'm very clear on what my purpose-filled goals are, because I have my 5 benchmark goals and I really expect everything that I do to work, I operate a certain way. And for those of you that really know me, you know that I'm not lying when I say this. You can ask anyone that really knows me. I expect everything that I do to work. That's just an expectation. But I don't just expect it and I do nothing, because if you just have expectation with no action, you're just being wishful. All right. When I'm talking about expecting something, that means you're putting in the work and you're putting in something and you're expecting something out. Right. It's the same thing with a really good investment. When you invest a certain amount into something, whether it be your time, your talent, or your treasure, you're expecting God to do something with it. And when you do that, you're going to start seeing change in your life. And so for me, when I started really expecting success with this podcast, when I started expecting success with coaching calls and different things in business and just everything that I was doing in my life, my entire life changed. My entire life changed. And so I'm telling you, I'm kind of just giving you a very broad overview of all these things, just because I'm not telling you things in theory. I'm telling you things that I have truly implemented in my life. And it's paid off. I'd like to think I live a pretty blessed life. And, I'm just thankful to be able to share some of the things that I've learned through some bumps and bruises and things like that. So that way you don't have to do that. Because, again, I don't want you to just be wasting your time. You have a life that's worth living. You have a life that can be fruitful. You have a life that God wants you to do something with. And so I just want to be able to use my purpose to hopefully ignite you to walk in yours. So be sure to use these 3 keys. All right. So just quick recap on this episode. The 3 keys. The first one is that you need purpose-filled goals. All right. Make sure that your purpose is tied to whatever goals it is, not just a goal that you heard about or a goal that you've seen, a goal that really resonates with you and makes you want to get up every single day and get to it. Second one is you need 5 benchmark goals. You really want to be clear in your process about the 5 steps that you need to hit in order for your dream to happen. And the third thing is that you need to expect success in every single area, in every single thing that you do. And I'm telling you, when you do these 3 things, not only will your life change, but the lives of the people around you will change. All right. So take that with you to the bank. if that really resonated with you, if you really enjoyed that, please do me a favor. Leave me a comment about what you think. If you are in any way identifying with this, or if you have your benchmark goals or you have your purpose-filled goal, be sure to just leave me a comment because I'd love to read them. It really makes my day whenever I just hear people really talking about their goals and really owning it. But again, really appreciate you guys for checking out this episode. Be sure to check out the next one. If you haven't, check out some past episodes where, I've gotten really in depth on just the process to success because I'm very passionate about this. But really appreciate you guys. Also, be sure to grab your ticket to the Dreamer Symposium that's happening December 17th. This is basically an all-day event. Lunch is going to be provided. I actually announced this by the time you hear this. So Katura Rosado is going to be coming to speak. She is a emotional fluency coach, and she's just awesome. Like I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this. So be sure to grab your ticket to that. Again, I would say get the VIP because I think there's a bonus in there for you if you do it. But as always, remember, your dream is possible as long as you're willing to work for it. I'll see you guys next week.